If you're thinking about selling your home and you're looking around thinking, there's a lot that I gotta do here, I wonder if I could just sell it as is. The short answer is yes, but whether that makes sense for your particular situation depends on a lot of different factors, which we're gonna break down here today. Hi, I'm Elyse Moore, and I help people in the Plainfield, Oswego, and surrounding areas make great decisions about real estate. In some situations, selling a home as is makes perfect sense, and in others, it could cost sellers tens of thousands of dollars. Selling as is does not mean no inspections, no disclosures, and no negotiations. Selling as is simply means that the seller isn't going to make any repairs or offer any credits to the buyer on anything that they may find during their inspection process. Why some sellers choose to sell as is? Convenience. Some sellers just don't want to deal with it. That could be because they inherited the home and they're now selling it as an estate. It could be because they have already moved out of state and don't have the accessibility to the property to make the repairs in advance. It may be that their life just doesn't support it. Maybe they have a job that keeps them out of the house for 100 hours a week. Maybe they have a new baby. There's a lot of reasons why sellers may choose to sell as is. Property condition. Maybe it's an older home that needs a lot of behind the scenes work, and it doesn't necessarily make sense for the seller to spend all of that time and energy making those repairs for the home. For some sellers, the trade-off of selling for a little bit less money makes sense in context of what they would have to do to prepare the home in order to sell it in a non-as-is situation. The trade-off that sellers should understand when deciding to sell a home as is that it often leads to a much smaller buyer pool. You will usually sell it for less money than you would in a non-as-is sale, and you will often end up attracting investor buyers who are very much searching for a deal. Now, this doesn't mean that we cannot still negotiate as is when your buyer comes calling, but it just means that you need to be aware of these things before we make the proactive decision to put the property on the market listed in as-is condition. Situations when selling as-is makes sense is when there's several known defects with the property and you don't have the time, energy, or resources to handle those defects. The other time that it makes sense is if you are prioritizing speed and ease in the transaction. If you would much rather get this done quickly rather than selling for top dollar, as-is may be a good option for you. It may not make sense to sell as is when you have a beautiful property in a highly desirable neighborhood and you've put a lot of energy and resources into updating it, but there's one or two small things that still need to be done. These could include things like a small leak under a sink. It could include things like deterioration on your fence. These are some of the items that if the rest of your property demands top dollar and we just have these couple little things on there, you're probably going to be better off financially in the long run to handle those items, remove the potential fear and concerns and limited buyer pool from the transaction, and go ahead and sell for top dollar. Before deciding to sell as is, it's usually valuable to have someone walk through and give you an idea of what improvements are going to add value and which ones won't. If you're wondering if as is makes sense for you, we're always happy to take a look and give you our honest opinion. Our contact information is in the link below. Reach out, we're here to help.